Hey folks, have you ever thought, I need a degree to start a business? Or I need lots of technical training to be a business owner? What about this one? Have you thought, I had to be a straight A student in school to have a chance at being successful in business? I'm living proof that you don't need any of those things to successfully build a business worth millions. But there are some things you need to know that will help you get there. We'll dispel that rumor and more on today's episode of The Customer First Business, why your stats don't define your potential. Before we get going today, the book is in Amazon. It's on servantceo.com. You can find it there in case you haven't already found it. And obviously, with this channel, we want to teach a lot about building a business, growing a business, giving you the tools necessary. The book, The Customer First Business, kind of takes that and breaks it out. And for this series, we're doing basically 11 months, 11 chapters, 4 sections per chapter, so 4 videos per month. So you can anticipate a video drop every Friday, and hoping to just kind of get into a rhythm of breaking down this book and maybe expounding a little bit on each of those chapters and helping you with some backstory and just a little easier to kind of process the book. So get the book, read it, follow along. Hopefully this book helps you. All right, well, this video, I want to talk mainly about those stats and why they really don't matter. A lot of people get in their heads and think, and I got to have a college degree, or I've got to have an MBA, or I have to have some specialized training to be successful in business. And I guess that could be true to a certain degree in that you have to have skills, but don't get in your head about I have to have college degree or I have to have a specific engineering slant or any of those things that kind of try to talk you out of it. I've learned that over the years, business people that are successful are those that don't take no for an answer, that refuse to give up or quit. Business people that are successful typically try to find a way to solve whatever problem's in front of them and move on to the next problem and then solve that one too. So if you have what it takes to be in business for yourself and be successful for the long term, get that in your mind. You're going to have that I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep pushing even when I've got obstacles in my way, going to overcome them. That first thought, if I got to have an education, let's just dispel that now. You don't have to have that at all. I got zero education, right? I was born in a little town in Forsyth, Georgia, middle Georgia, kind of in between Macon and Atlanta, a little cow town. We had more cows than people in this town. Lived on a farm, basically, out cow pastures all around me. Was public school in the early years, homeschooled in my middle kind of school years, and then later on in high school, Mary Persons Bulldogs, go Bulldogs for those of you guys that might be watching that went to Mary Persons. It was a small little 2A school. We had nothing real fancy going on. Never went to college, decided that college wasn't for me. I could not fathom the idea of going and sitting and spending money to sit in a classroom and be lectured. I had already done that for 4 years with high school, and I was ready to get out. In high school, I had done what they call DCT because I didn't like class. They had, as your senior year, I think even junior year, maybe senior year, you could actually sign up for DCT, which is Diversified Cooperative Training. That meant the last 2 periods of the day, you could get out and go get a job. I didn't have any money, but I wanted a car and I wanted some spending money. So getting a job was important. So I went out and got a job, kind of got out of school. So college was definitely not on the board for me. Took the ASVAB, which is the placement test for military placement, right there at the end of high school. They want to try to evaluate what skills you have. I scored a 98 on the administrative portion, which is pretty good. But on the mechanical portion, I scored a 52. And later in this book, we'll talk about some of those things, the jobs that I took and all of that. But I just wanted to kind of shine the light on. I was not a straight A student. I was 52 mechanical is pretty. I mean, that's pretty low. I wouldn't think that a 52 mechanical would qualify me to go in and be a mechanic, but ultimately, I'm dealing with mechanical engineering today, which is funny. Patents on the wall and whatnot. But yeah, education-wise, that was about it. There was no a little tech school for going to work on jets. I took a real estate class one time and passed it, but really never used my real estate license. So I wanted to shine that spotlight on. Here I am today. I own a multi-million-dollar brand. We're a global brand. We're recognized all over the world as the kind of the gold standard for information within our niche. It took me 15 years to build it, but there's a tremendous amount of success that I've enjoyed, in part by doing a lot of things well, but just kind of having a go-getter type of mentality and not really depending on education. For those of you out there that have education or value education, I'm not trying to throw off on that. I think that education is valuable. I just could not see that working for me. And so don't get in your head you have to have those things. There may be specific things you do need to learn to do a specific task, but in those situations, for me, I just simply sought out that specific training or that specific information. Internet's a great place to find that stuff these days. You've got artificial intelligence, you've got YouTube University, access to all kinds of data today that you can go and solve a quick problem or answer a question quickly. So don't get in your head about that. I really wanted to set you at ease on that. So let's move on. We've talked about my education a little bit. Work history. So I have, in the early years, just kind of odd jobs when I was young. Was worked at a grocery store when I was a kid. Worked at Taco Bell and Burger King, and little odd jobs that kids have right there in high school. Started my own business when I was young. I had my friend. I never forget my first business. I started a little car wash. I didn't have a bucket. I didn't have any soap, and I didn't have a hose. I didn't have a house. I didn't have all those things that you would have to set up a business. But I had this kooky idea. Wouldn't it be cool if I could go wash your car in your driveway using your soap and your water and get paid for it? And so I did that and did it for a little while. Didn't have any money in my pocket. Couldn't go out and advertise. Didn't know how to start an advertising campaign. And ultimately, that business was a abysmal success. It did not go anywhere. Later on, I started a business as a landscaper. So I bought a lawnmower and I bought a weed eater and an edger and a trailer, and I put a little trailer hitch on the back of my Ford Thunderbird. And I would drive around town and cut people's yards. Had a really good clientele going actually for that. That business was doing pretty well. But I knew I wasn't going to cut grass the rest of my life. Um, Decided maybe the Air Force was something I wanted to do. I felt like the little town that I was in just wasn't going to provide the opportunity that I wanted. So joined the Air Force with that 52% aptitude score on mechanical. Wanted to be a fighter jet pilot. Thought that would be really awesome. Idolized the guys, Tom Cruise and Top Gun and all that stuff was cool back then. I was graduating high school in '94, so that was only about 9 years after the first Top Gun had come out. So I idolized those guys. I loved motorcycles and fast cars and all the things that are kind of synonymous with speed and adrenaline. So I thought, man, wouldn't it be cool to go be in the Air Force and be around those jets? And they said I couldn't fly them. I didn't have a college degree, so that was out. And they said that because I wore glasses, that I could not fly them. I had to have 20/20 vision. So obviously, even if I had gotten a college degree, it wouldn't have mattered. I think that was part of my motivation for not going to school because I couldn't fly. So what's the point? So I decided, you know what? The best thing for me is to go be around the jets. I'm going to be a mechanic. In those days, I hated getting, I still today hate getting my hands dirty. I don't like grease on my hands and dirt on my hands. And that was what that job was. So every day I would come home smelling like JP8 jet fuel. Um, Really awful smell that you can't get out of your clothes, by the way. It's almost like kerosene. Grease on my hands. And I was not mechanically inclined. And then it put me in an environment where I'm jumping in an intake inside of an F-15 in 100-degree weather with a suit on, climbing down. After these things land, they have to be inspected. And I was the guy doing the inspections. So I've got to inspect the intakes. I've got to jump inside the exhaust. This thing's just been flying and flames coming out the back of this exhaust. And I got to go jump in the exhaust and inspect the exhaust. I was not good at this job. Some really funny stories that I won't go into detail too much about. Let's just say this. I'm not on the Hall of Fame at Tyndall Air Force Base here in Panama City for my work done for the 95th Fighter Squadron. I was in the 95th Fighter Squadron. Mr. Bones was our mascot, and I was probably on the wall of shame if you really want to ask the question. And because I wasn't good at my job, I was fearful I was going to do something wrong. And so ultimately, I decided to kind of go a different direction. End of my 4 years, I got out and decided to move on. I did learn through that time period, though, that I did enjoy sales. I enjoyed talking with people about things I was interested in and making money through commission. That was something that I really enjoyed. We'll get into that in a later chapter more. All of this, I wanted to build up this kind of backstory on me to say that here I sit today with this fairly successful enterprise and have accomplished some pretty cool things. And none of that required a tremendous amount of education. And I want you to know if you decide that's not the track you want to go, if you don't want to go to college, if you want to go out and hustle and learn and do your kind of hands-on thing, go for it. This book's going to teach you a lot about the steps you'll need to take to kind of go that direction. It's really a good tool to help you build your business. Back then, no money in my pocket, couldn't afford school really if I wanted to. Today, it's a whole different story. Got a lot to celebrate and the success that's happened through the past 15 years with Jet Boat Pilot and all the fun things we've done. So anyway, well, listen, I really hope that this video has helped you kind of shed some light, if nothing else, on me and where I came from, and that you can also do what I'm doing without any of the college education or training. Again, if you want to see the book, servantceo.com. We'll put a link in the description below. It's also on Amazon. We're releasing the audiobook hopefully next week. It's available on Kindle as well as in paperbacks. You can get it however you like it. If you like this video, like, subscribe, notification bell, share this video with your friends. If you know somebody who's maybe looking to get into business for themselves and looking for like a really practical kind of business channel to teach some of the basics, I'm giving big brother advice on this channel. I'm teaching a lot of things that are going to help people, I think, because we've lived it and we've learned it and we've learned what doesn't work. We've learned what does work. We built something pretty special. So share that with your friends. And as always, too, if you like this video, check this one out.